That's ridiculous to think. That's what evolution teaches. What's that?
You know anything about dark matter?
What about it?
Well, I mean, basically because it's so minuscule, but it is so massive that it's got like an absurd gravitational pull.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, where did this mass come from?
It doesn't have to come from anywhere.
So it's eternal.
Okay, sorry. If you're gonna say where did this mass come from, I'm gonna say where did God come from?
Sure.
Mass always existed, just like you argue that God always.
You know the problem with mass always existing, man? The second law of thermodynamics. If we couldn't have mass eternally existing in the past, it'd be gone by now.
The problem with that argument is that it is a closed system, whereas things like the Earth are an open system because we're constantly receiving energy from the sun.
What's being added to it?
We are receiving energy.
The sun's already been there. It's always been there. The sun's always there. It's not adding things to it. What does energy do?
It's conservation of energy, conservation of matter.
Okay, so energy, take for example, you put your new car, out in the middle of the field and leave it alone. Do nothing to it. Just add the energy of the sun and see what happens to that car. It will become a more intricate car, a better car, a better designed car. It'll destroy that car. It'll destroy it.
Right, I know, but the
So
energy
the sun doesn't create anything. The sun destroys things. But talking about the Big Bang.
Right now, the sun creates let's the grass is giving me oxygen. It's giving you oxygen.
Right, but you're assuming this came from nothing. That's what you're assuming.
No, I'm
the reason the grass is like that. The reason the grass is like that because God created it that way. Okay, but the evolutionist says that life came from non-life. That intelligence came from non-intelligence. You know, design didn't come from a designer. That creation didn't come from a creator. It came about by itself. Well, let's just examine the Big Bang Theory. Okay? The Big Bang Theory says there was a big explosion and it created everything we see. Well, let's examine what we know. The word science means knowledge. You know, the definition of science is observable, reproducible, and testable. You know, so let's look at our knowledge of explosion and see what we know about explosions. Have you ever seen order, intelligence, design, and life come out of an explosion? Of course you haven't. That's outside the realm of knowledge. It says no one was there in the beginning.
You're comparing apples to oranges.
No, I'm not, ma'am. It's an explosion. No one was there in the beginning. So science can't prove what happened in the beginning. It's outside the realm of knowledge. Therefore, when you're talking about origins, you're not talking about science, you're talking about faith. Because the Big Bang Theory is faith. No one knows that for sure. It's just faith.
Right.
Yeah, so really you only have three options in the beginning. You have in the beginning God. The uncalled God always has been, always will be. Then you have in the beginning the universe. You know, the universe always has been, always will be. The eternal universe. But the second law of thermodynamics destroys that argument. Then you have the third option, in the beginning, an explosion. That, as we already seen, that's a ridiculous argument as well. The only option you have, that's a verifiable option by what we know, what we currently know, is that in the beginning God's the only one that makes sense. Makes sense. And the problem with evolutionists, now there's not enough evidence for God existing, they don't want God to exist.
Well, when you say
they want to live their life the way they want to. They don't want a God tell them what to do, tell them how to live, because they don't want to answer them. They want to be the gods of their own life. That's the problem.
Sir, what would you say to the argument that, some Christians who also believe in evolution, believe, you know how most of the Bible is metaphor?
No, it's not.
No,
No, it's not.
No, they already agreed yesterday that a lot of the Bible is metaphor. Jesus spoke in parables. So what's to say that the 7 days in which God created everything wasn't a metaphor for an extended period of time?
Right. Well, you have to use sound hermeneutics. One of the hermeneutics in the Bible, interpreting the Bible, is that if the literal sense makes perfect sense, take no other sense lest you make nonsense. And even Hebrew secular scholars will tell you, you read Genesis chapter 1, you read anything but literal 24-hour days, you're reading something into it. You have a bias, a predisposed bias that you're reading into it.
But Jesus spoke in parables.
What does that mean?
Don't they give you a better job than just holding the sign?
Genesis 1 is literal. And if the Christians say it's not, I'll tell them they're wrong in a second.
Who is also of him wasn't literal.
What was your question?
I'm just curious, how old is
Probably between 7,000 and 10,000 years old. Dinosaurs lived at the same time man did. We have dinosaurs spoken about in Job.
We have geological evidence.
No, you don't. Your geological evidence is biased, sir. It's biased. You know, you look at these geological supposed columns that stand for millions of years each. You have trees going throughout all these columns. You have a seashell going through 3 columns standing on its point. That didn't happen over millions of years, sir. I'm sorry. These geological columns all happened in the flood. The flood came, swept the earth, and you have all these layers because of the worldwide flood. But yeah, the world's about 7,000 to 10,000 years old. Genesis 1 is literal. Any question?
Yes, okay. So if mankind and the dinosaurs lived simultaneously, why didn't mankind die when the dinosaurs died when the gigantic meteor hit the earth and put in this huge dust cloud?
Well, you have no proof of the gigantic meteor hitting the earth.
Absolutely.
No, you don't. You don't have any proof of a gigantic meteor hitting the earth. That's just a theory. Not true. Dinosaurs were alive during man's time. Read the book of Job. There's 2 animals in there called Behemoth and Leviathan. They can't describe anything else but a dinosaur. You know, but the word dinosaur wasn't invented till the 19th century. So of course they weren't called dinosaurs. They were called what God called them, Behemoth and Leviathan. But they were dinosaurs. You know, out of the mouth comes overflow the heart. You need to repent, ma'am, of your filthy mouth. You have a potty in your mouth. You have a sewer in your heart. Yeah, you need to repent, ma'am.